So welcome everybody to the Thursday, March 20th, 2025 meeting of the Somerville Fair Housing Commission. Pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Somerville Fair Housing Commission will be conducted via remote participation, and we will have an audio recording available upon request as soon as possible after the meeting. I'd like to formally ask the other commissioners for consent to call the meeting to order.
Okay, I'll be one.
Sure.
Okay, so that's unanimous. And our able staff person, Shannon Lawler, sent us minutes of the February 27th meeting. I hope you've had a chance to review those, and I would request a motion to accept them.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the the last month meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
February.
Yeah.
It would be a neat trick to have the minutes for the April meeting.
Yeah, wouldn't it though?
Wouldn't it be good? We could just fast forward to.
I'm thinking of Fair Housing Month. That's what it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
Rona, did I hear you seconding the motion?
Yeah, I'll second it. I'm fine.
So we'll make that unanimous. Okay, going on to some of our standing agenda items. For any members of the public who are now or in the future watching the recording of this meeting, our Fair Housing Commission has a page on Facebook. It's Somerville Fair Housing Commission, all one word. We generally post a question of the week, a fair housing question, on Friday, and a related article or news item or announcement on Monday. And expect that in April, we will probably be posting more often. But since our last meeting, the items that got the most attention, one was a question about, is it legal for a landlord to refuse to rent to anyone below the age of 25? And the answer is no.
No.
Age is a protected category, and age discrimination is not fair housing, with the exceptions that buildings are allowed to be restricted to 55 and up, if that's in the charter of the building, and a couple of other really minor exceptions. But basically, if you are not a minor, if you are of legal age, your application to rent should be considered the same way as everybody else. So
Is legal age 18 or 21?
That's a good question. I think it's 18, but I don't know for sure.
I think it's 18 and 21 is the drinking age, but legal age I think is 18.
18. Okay.
I think that's right. So 137 people saw that post. Another one that was widely seen and somewhat responded to was a news article about making it easier to get reasonable accommodation exemptions for building housing for people with disabilities. Okay, that's a complicated sentence, but basically some municipalities want to make it easier to build or modify housing if the people who are going to live there are people with disabilities. And this article was seen by 84 people, and 2 of them passed it along. So those are the topics that were of the most interest this month. Do the other commissioners have any questions or comments? If not, I will ask Shannon to review the calls and complaints that she's received since our last meeting.
Yeah, so since the last meeting, we've only received 1 new complaint. And actually, this was a referral from the Department of Racial and Social Justice. So I think that that's a really good sign that already, like, the Fair Housing Commission and RSJ are collaborating together really well. So I met with Beth from the Department of Racial and Social Justice. So I got an overview on the case before I called the individual, but it is an instance of racial and probably national origin discrimination. She was harassed for decorations that she had up for a holiday for Chinese New Year, whereas other tenants have not been asked to take theirs down. So she actually has a complaint. She submitted a complaint with HUD, and then they referred her back to MCAD, Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, and they're going to contact her. So I'm just staying in touch with her just to make sure that she gets contacted by them. And she's also in touch with Somerville Office of Immigrant Affairs. So I think like she's in pretty good hands. She has like us and then also RSJ and Soya working for her and trying to help her out in this. And then two other things. So these are two continuations of older complaints. So one of them, I just wanted to close the loop on that I talked about last month, someone with an assistance animal, and the landlord sent a lease addendum that was an animal and pet addendum that had a lot of discriminatory language. So I helped her cross out, you know, the parts of it that were discriminatory if you have an assistance animal, and she sent that over to them. I know, Rona, last time you asked if this is something that we could share on the website as a resource for landlords, but after talking about it with Housing Division a little bit more, it seems like we probably shouldn't, because we can't say what exactly they can and can't do, and we don't want it to be construed that way. And then what was the other one? The other one, this is something that's reemerged from, I believe I reported on this complaint in December, but this individual, she lives in Somerville Housing Authority building, and she is looking for a transfer to an accessible unit or for reasonable modifications to her unit. And I think that there was some confusion over where she was on the transfer list. So that came back up, and then over like when the modifications would be made. So I'm working with her to get that sorted out. Does anyone have any questions on those three?
The only thing that I'm curious about is, do you recall any other Asian hate
I know
in
that.
Somerville? It seems like this is the first time I've heard that, and I'm very disappointed, but
Yeah.
you know, there's 80,000 people in the city and one of them's a jerk. You know, but
Yeah, not in the time that I've been taking
Okay.
complaints. I haven't heard anyone specify that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just dismaying that there's
Yeah.
Asian hate here too.
Agreed.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And Shannon, I'm right, am I not, that it could have been something that was, you know, based on a particular ethnicity or religion like that. It could have been, you know, something like I don't know, LGBTQ flag, you know, anything
Anything.
that they wanted to hang that fell within a protected class would have brought up the same kinds of issues.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what kind of, was this in a apartment building or
Yeah, it was in an apartment building.
privately owned? Yeah, okay. Because I know you run into some difficulties when people rent or own in homeowners association. Those places make
Right.
rules, and it's harder to get them to observe protected classes. But I don't know that much detail about it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a rented apartment building.
Mhm.
So we'll see, but yeah, the complaint is with MCAD. So hopefully something happens there.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about
Mm.
what an Asian New Year decoration display would be and why anyone would have a
It's-
problem with it,
It's
but
very bizarre because I'm sure that
it's-
there are, like you said, other holiday decorations
right, there's
year
Christmas
round.
lights
It's very
everywhere in rented
odd.
spaces.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing.
Yeah,
It's
no,
disappointing. You're right.
and it may very well be that the landlord just doesn't realize they can't do that.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
and it'll be an educational moment.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Well, and you know, I want to say for the public that a lot of our mission is education, and a lot of times when people are violating fair housing, it's because they're not aware, for example, that source of income is a protected class and that they can't legally refuse Section 8 and other housing vouchers. And, you know, when they're made aware of it and Shannon or other, you know, people who are in touch with them say, and, you know, this is really not so bad for you, and here's how you can make it easier on yourself and so forth. Usually it's a win, but it's a lot of this is case by case, so it's a slow process. So just checking to see if there are any other questions or comments on Shannon's report. If not, we have a lot of activity planned,
Mhm.
especially for April, because nationwide April is Fair Housing Month. And I'm hoping that Commissioner Patrice Faulkner will join us before this discussion is over. But
I got an
Commissioner,
email from her, sorry. So she said that a meeting's popped up and she might not be able to
Okay.
make today's
All right.
meeting.
well, that
All
would
right,
be
we'll keep going then.
unfortunate. But yeah. So Commissioner Rona, I think this is on you
Yeah,
to make
it's
the
on me.
report. Yeah.
It's on me. Okay, so I'll sort of do it in reverse chronological order. So the things that have happened in the past month are that all of the both of the events are on the library website,
Cool.
and will start going up on my blog, and the flyers are all done in multiple languages, so it has just rocked this one.
Yeah.
And you know, again, it's been incredibly helpful both to have Shannon nagging them and also having RSJ who use them all the time saying, you know, we need these. So all the flyers are done for both events. So that's one thing. I met with Human Rights Commission yesterday, and their recording of their meeting will happen. I will summarize it as they now have quorum, but they have 5 new members whose names have been given to the mayor for approval. So they weren't able to do any substantial moving forward on things because they don't want to like some of the things on the agenda were, do we want to have subcommittees? Do we want to start projects? And a lot of that got tabled in favor of wait for the new energy. So they're in a transitional phase. It's very exciting to them, and they don't know what it's going to look like. But the piece of the discussion about that, you know, I did the ask about asking them to help us get it out. They didn't have any specific things that they thought we should ask from MAPC that would help them. But they appreciated the fact that, you know, once we have, you know, our advantages that MAPC are going to give us, those are going to be open to all the commissions. And I fielded a question, and I sort of took the privilege of answering it in the name of the Fair Housing Commission, and I want to check that back with us, which is that Christopher, one of the commissioners, who's the fellow who actually came to Todd's thing last year. Christopher asked us if we would address eviction. And I said that fair housing and affordable housing have a lot of synergy because a lot of people in affordable housing are people who have been have faced discrimination in their lifetime and historically for some of them. And that's part of what we're trying to do with talking about the color of law, is to explain that there is housing discrimination that goes back to the end of Reconstruction. And how that has economically affected people and they're in affordable housing now. So we can justify doing affordable housing work, even though it's not directly in our charter, but I didn't feel like we could do eviction work. So I just wanted to run that past the other commissioners to see if I overspoke, and if I did, I'll send them an email and retract it.
I'm wondering, because I know like if you get like a no fault eviction, you know, that's quite different than if the landlord puts reasons for, you know, evicting you. And I wonder, you know, if some of I hope they wouldn't be this blatant in their language of an eviction notice, but if there's language that is obviously touches on the things that we, you know, advocate for and against, if that would, like, if someone would come to, maybe would end up in, you know, calling Shannon to kind of, you know, run through that,
Yeah.
you know.
And that, I guess that's sort of the question is, have any of the fair housing complaints that we've had started with, I'm being faced with eviction because,
Right.
and mostly we've been dealing with, there's discrimination at the point of purchase or at the point of rental.
Right.
And
Yeah.
would we want to extend it to at the point of eviction? There were, and Christopher said there were 57 evictions last year in Somerville.
No
Patrice
kidding.
made it.
Hi, Patrice.
So, so it's sort of and we, you know, we can, now that Patrice is here, it's even better because we can talk, let me dial this back a little so Patrice knows what we're talking about. So the Human Rights Commission is very happy that MAPC is going to be helping us, and, you know, we'll share what we get. And the question that I answered for the commission that I want to run past everybody is, Christopher on the Human Rights Commission asked about whether eviction is a piece of our umbrella, for want of a better term. Because what I said was that, you know, we're fair housing commissioners, and affordable housing is linked to fair housing because of historical discrimination. And therefore economically, you know, disadvantaging people who are in protected classes. But I felt like eviction was beyond our purview. And if it's not, then I'll send them an email and say, no, in fact, it is in our purview. And the only way I can think of that it is in our purview is if Shannon is getting calls from people who are saying, I'm about to be evicted and it's because I am in a protected class. And I don't think that's ever happened.
Shannon, could you jump in and fill us in on that?
Yeah, and before I do, Patrice, I just want to clarify, do you need to pop back out at 3:25? I just want to
Yep,
be cognizant of your time.
At around 3:25, I have to pop out, but then I can pop back in at around like 3:35 if everything goes.
Oh, good. Okay.
If everything goes
We'll talk
according to
about
plan.
stuff that's not important while you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just wrap this up
Okay.
in the next 2
Okay.
minutes. But I haven't had any of those complaints regarding eviction. In my opinion, if I did get a fair housing complaint regarding eviction, I would treat it the same as any other complaint, except for I would bring in the Office of Housing Stability
Got it.
and make sure that they are also assigning someone to help with the eviction case. Like they're assigning someone from Cambridge and Somerville Legal Services to help with the eviction part of the case. But I haven't had any like that, but that's what I would do. I would still have them go to MCAD if it's that kind of complaint. And I would still, you know, do whatever other thing is appropriate for the complaint and loop in OHS. So I think that we wouldn't want to wouldn't want to, but I don't think there's a need for us to do anything specifically because OHS has those resources and that's what they do on a regular basis. And they have the contract to Cambridge and Somerville Legal Services. I just don't think that we would need to do anything else there. We could tell Human Rights Commission about that resource if they're not aware of it, but That's
They
my
must
thought.
be.
Yeah.
They must be. They, you know, and I think Christopher is very involved.
Yeah.
So he was hoping for more allyship there, and I felt like it was too far out of our umbrella.
Mhm.
But
I'm gonna-
I realized that I should run it past Joel.
I'm going to call on myself for a moment. The case that I could imagine coming up would be a woman with or without a partner sells, it becomes known to the landlord that she's pregnant,
Mhm.
and the the landlord, being aware of the lead paint issue,
Mm,
tries to evict her. And that
Mhm.
would be a
Yeah.
violation of fair housing, in addition to, housing stability kind of
Mhm.
case. So if that hasn't happened, on the one hand, I'd be glad if that means people were not discriminating in that way. And on the other hand, it also might mean they don't know in that situation where to turn. Office of Housing Stability, as you mentioned, is a good one. I believe, I mean, it's been years since I worked at CAS, Community Action Agency of Somerville, but I believe that their housing advocacy program still has a strong eviction prevention component
they
to
do.
it. Am I
They do.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. And OHS contracts out to them. So I think sometimes you can like fast track someone getting a case manager at CAS by going through OHS. That's why I go there first. But
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to underline this, that OHS, Office of Housing Stability, which is a city office, is kind of the first point of call for eviction cases. And then if it has, they may refer it to CAS. If it has a fair housing component to it, we, may hear about it, but that's the most direct place to go. So, and I just wanted to mention again, for anyone who is listening, MAPC was referred to, and that's the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. And Commissioner Rona, could you say, we've applied for, I think, money and technical support from them, and could you explain for what?
So what MAPC is very good at is doing community organizing and getting relationships with people where they are in the city, so that groups are working together. So that's where their skill set is, and we're getting staff time, and it's still a little up in the air exactly how much and when, because they had wanted to do something that would have ended in June. And since they're missing this cycle of our Fair Housing Month, we're seeing whether we can get a longer time on it. Even if they do the work over the summer and it's done, we'll have it for the next cycle and we can
Right.
report back to them. And I don't think we've heard back from them yet about that.
so we got their updated proposal, which I sent to everyone, and looked good to me.
Okay.
I think they're bringing it to their supervisors or whoever is in charge of
Mhm.
making the decisions about that funding. So we should hear back from them soon if we're gonna get it, which would be really great. And
Mhm.
as a side note, they said that they were gonna come to our this year's April is Fair Housing
Right.
Month events.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm gonna send them the sign up. They know about the
Links.
events, like they know when they are, but I'll send them, now that it's fully open, I'll send them the registration
Okay.
link.
Yeah, I have 2 blog entries
Mhm.
set up to advertise both of them, so I'll send you those links. They're not up yet,
Mhm.
but I'll send you the information because it just sort of fleshes out what the event is about.
Would you send the commissioners copies of the flyers too, Shannon, so that, because I, distribute that to
Yeah.
my different tenant people that I work with.
Yeah, I sent them out last
have 'em.
earlier
I
this
have my
week.
Did you? Okay, so you.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
can send them
remember seeing
again.
them, but if you could, that would be great. I don't
Yeah,
remember
I'll send
seeing
them
them.
again.
I probably, I got a lot of emails.
Yeah,
last couple
it's
weeks,
okay.
but-
And I can send them in whatever format you want. I sent them as a PDF and like
Yeah.
a PNG, like a picture. If
Yeah,
you wanted to
that's
post
fine.
on Facebook or wherever, I think
Yeah.
the PDF is better for printing. But yeah, I'll send them again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just I would a PDF is perfectly fine because I would probably just send them as an email saying, "Hey, all of my
Section 8 people.
participants, just if you're interested in fair housing, here's some things going on." That kind of thing. So a PDF
Yeah.
is fine.
And the
So-
PNG files will be better for Facebook. So,
Facebook.
and we're kind of in the area of what I hoped we would be doing, which is what else commissioners can do to promote this event. I'm taking it for granted that we're going to show up for as many of them as we possibly can personally, but Janine is going to put it out there on her email list. I will make sure that both the flyers and Commissioner Rona's blog posts that are relevant to this show up on the Facebook page. And what about local media? Or have we sent out press releases or anything like that?
Yeah. So this is, if it's okay if I like go through what we still
Please.
need
Mhm.
and
Yep.
what needs to be done before these two events.
It's more than okay. It would be a good
Yeah.
contribution. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. I figure we'll wait for Patrice about how we're gonna do the program itself.
Mhm.
But this logistical stuff, I think we can do without Patrice.
Mhm. Okay, so for publicizing them, I am sending today, I meant to send it earlier, but I didn't finish writing up a short blurb that would be social media friendly yet. But I'm sending a blurb and the PNG, the image of the flyer, to the city media team so they can post it on like the Somerville City Facebook and Instagram and whatever other social media they have that I don't have or don't know about. So that way that will go out for the whole city. We could do a couple other things. I posted it on, I don't know if you know what the Boston Calendar is. It's like, I think people list like free events. Well, they list sometimes paid events, but it's mostly where people go to look for free things to do when they're bored. So I put it on there. I was also planning on contacting the Cambridge Day and then the Somerville Times to see if we could get it on there. I don't think we would have to pay
No.
to get it on. Okay. So as long as we don't have to pay, then I'm going to send it to both of them. And the Cambridge Day, I know for sure has like an events like map where they have a map of Somerville and all the events within that week, or a map of Cambridge and Somerville. So that one's good for that. And then Somerville Times, I think, is more widely read. So we'll use that too. And then just for what you guys can do to publicize the event, any of like the physical spaces that you're in a lot, if you want to post the flyers, if you want me to print the flyers and get them to you, I'm happy to do that.
Do you want an excuse to be around Davis Square? Because if you don't-
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna-
if you don't, we could do, like, we're walking distance to Davis and Teal.
Okay, I
So
think
we could do
yeah.
that, but if you want to have an excuse to go to Davis Square, we'll let you, we'll leave it.
It's for
Yeah,
work.
so I think
It's for work.
yeah, yeah. I just need to go on a little walk and pick up a little donut for work.
Right, exactly. And that should be a perk of your job while you're doing service for the Fair Housing Commission. I don't want to take it away from you.
Yeah, so I'll check back in with you about that, but I'm going around flyering, like physical flyering with Angie from RSJ.
Okay.
Because I think that she has a lot of experience with flyering for their events. So she's going to take me, we're at least going around East Somerville and Union Square together. And then I told her if we ran out of time, I would cover like the Davis and Teal Square area. But if you all have like places that you regularly go in Davis Square, feel free to drop them off there. Just let me know where you went so I don't double up.
Don't double up. Yeah.
I was planning on going to like the new bookstore in Davis Square. The owner is really nice. And I think that there's a lot of people who are like socially active there or civically active there, and Diesel Cafe, and other places like that in Davis.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you have any suggestions, I can
Yeah,
also
most-
take them there. So.
Yeah, there's a laundromat in Teal.
Mhm. Okay, let me
Um,
write that down.
Oh yeah, are we talking about
We're
places?
talking about where the
to-
flyers should go.
Mhm.
Oh, the supermarket that is right, the Stop and Shop that's right on the corner of Alewife. There's like a bulletin
Mhm.
board kind of outside
Oh,
where you
yeah.
leave, and you can
Okay.
like put stuff there. And the laundromat, of course, is a good
Yeah,
resource.
because people have nothing
Um,
else to do. They're gonna read the flyers.
Yeah. Okay, those are great suggestions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And, you know, and otherwise Teal Square it doesn't have a lot of sit around traffic.
Hmm.
At this point, you know, there's a liquor store. I don't know if they have a bulletin board.
Hmm.
I don't know if the Muffin has a bulletin
Oh,
board.
Magmuff.
Yeah,
I'll look.
Magmuff.
I'll look.
Okay.
Yeah, these are great suggestions. So especially because
But
I'm not in
Rudy's
Teal Square that
Rudy's
much.
is
So.
gone, and
Mm.
I'm pretty sure the Tibetan place, the Nepali place doesn't have a bulletin board.
Mhm.
I don't know
So-
about the liquor store on that block.
The other thing I want to mention, which often people tend to forget, is faith-based places, particularly for reaching the immigrant community.
Mhm.
Churches are really important, and I'll, send out some stuff to the Temple B'nai B'rith community email list so people know about it there. But yeah, it's people. My observation is that people who are not attached to a religious community underestimate what the impact that spreading it in those communities can have. So I'll just leave that on the record.
Yeah,
You know-
if anyone has any like connection to someone who sends out an email list for a faith-based community, that
Yeah,
would be
that's-
really helpful if you could send them the event flyers. But
Yeah, and that's something I'm hoping MAPC will help us with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Is refreshing those lists.
you said Angie from RSJ, right?
yeah, and I believe that
know-
she has connections with a few
Mhm.
faith-based communities around.
Yeah.
So I was relying on her for that piece.
Yeah, also if you call Jordan, he probably has a good list. Jordan,
Yeah.
Jordan Harris at the
Connection.
Connection.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he'll put the flyer up for certain.
Well, he'll definitely put the flyer up. He'll jump up and down and put the
I
flyer up,
know. Hey.
the way Jordan does.
One time or maybe more than once, I have tickets that I've gotten for things have been on Eventbrite, and now
Uh-huh.
I get postings from them all the time. And a lot of the things are free. They're just events that people, advertise. I don't know how to get on there other than because I get it sent to me. But while we were in here, I got something from them about from the Somerville Museum about a trolley ride that's happening. So like they're pretty good about. I mean, I know that I've seen other Somerville things there too. I don't know how you post on it, to be honest with you, but I mean, I get postings from them at least. I would say like at least every 10 days or so.
Okay, I'll look into that too.
Yeah.
And we're working with Carrie from the library, so she might also know. She's flyering all the libraries. Okay, sorry. I don't know if there's like an organized way we want to go about like what else is to be done for these events, but something else just popped into my head.
Please.
So Carrie shared that the librarians are going to do a book display for Fair Housing Month. And if we could get them a list of books, that would be helpful. Or if you just know one or two, even one book that they could use for the display, that would be really helpful. You can send it to me and I can send it over to her. Rona, I think you might have mentioned that you know of
Yeah,
some
and I
books.
forgot all about it, so I'll do that.
Yeah, so that would be great. I think that just needs to be done probably within the next week, so they have time to
Yep.
get the display ready
Yeah,
and pull the books
I'll
aside
get that.
for
So
April.
where are we? We're at the 20th, so I'm gonna due date that the 27th, and I'll go directly to.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I'll
Um,
volunteer to brainstorm along with Commissioner
Yeah.
Rona on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me
Okay,
see
so-
what else there is. Do you have something, Rona? Sorry.
Well, I just looked and I have an Eventbrite account.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if that gives me the right to put something up, but it probably does, and I could figure it out.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be
so
great.
I've got that one on my list. I'll also make sure that happens by the 27th. And I'll report back to Shannon and she can let everybody know. So, the questions that I was waiting for Patrice to be back for, because I want more brains, is about what we're doing in terms of the conversation around. So I'm rereading The Color of Law, which is now my third read. And each time I'm remembering more details. And one of the things that I could do, because you know, it was sort of, are we going to have a panel? Well, we not really, but as a realtor and with my experience, I can clearly have a conversation about how restrictive covenants worked and how they were used to get around a law. So there was a law, Buchanan law, that said you can't discriminate, you can't tell people they have to live in a certain part of town or can't live in a certain part of town. And the way they got around it was restrictive covenants, which were private agreements rather than public agreements. And then the courts had to enforce them, which made it public again. But people will read restrictive covenants and it's described, but it's just for people to understand what restrictive covenants were. And do we want to get nerdy like that? And will people want to get nerdy like that?
I think so. And can
Me
I
too.
can I raise your nerdy another nerdy?
Okay, okay.
I wonder if we have a map, right? I wonder if
Oh.
if there was a map of like where redlining had taken place in
Oh, it
Massachusetts.
exists.
And also an
Yeah.
existing map now of where communities of color are located, and there can be a comparison.
That's cool,
I'm not-
Patrice.
I don't know. Can we get a map of where communities of color are located in Somerville? The current
I
one.
would say
The old one exists.
I would say this is a great question for MAPC if I had
Okay.
to ask.
Okay.
This is a
Can we
great
put you
because
on that one?
I don't know if I'm allowed to be on that one since I was in this meeting and brought it up. We're in this. Actually, why not? You can CC me on it. I just won't make any comments.
I'll tell you what, I will send you an email from the Fair Housing Commission asking whether MAPC has such a thing.
All right, you can,
That
and
makes
I'll
sense.
put on
That makes
and I'll
sense.
put on my work hours hat and like
Right.
see and like scoot back with someone to see if
Okay.
that is a thing, and scoot back with the person's using the TAP funds to see if they can see if they could do a GIS, like do a quick thing using GIS software. So there we could have like a map, and also if we also
I have
wanted
seen
to
it done that way. I'm interrupting you, but
Yeah.
I have seen that, and it would be great to have it.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
And I wonder if we could also go a little further too,
Mhm.
not just have the map of communities of color, but also show where the median income.
Ooh.
Oh, I think I might be able to do that.
Yeah.
There is there's a piece of software connected to the multiple listing service called RRP or something like that. That might have that. I'll report back.
Cool.
So
And I
median
don't-
income.
I don't think you need
Okay.
to worry about being nerdy because that book is, it's
Book is pretty nerdy.
yeah, it's dense with facts and figures. So like, I think that the types of folks that would want to hear more about it are probably folks that are drawn to that type of, nonfiction book. So
Right.
I think
And
you're
I
fine.
don't know if people realize, but there were restrictive covenants in Winchester
No big surprise there.
until it was absolutely not allowed.
Okay, I'm gonna call on Shannon.
Sorry. So, I just want to clarify one thing. So I
Mhm.
think it is like 95% confirmed that it will be a panel discussion.
Mhm.
but I will follow up with everyone tomorrow
Mhm.
with an email. But I really like that idea, and I wonder, Rona, and I don't want to volunteer you to, but if
Mhm.
you two wanted to meet with me and we come up with questions for the panel based around that,
Okay.
I think that could be really,
Oh,
really
I think that
great
would
for
be-
the
Yeah.
Now,
discussion.
are you
Yeah.
talking about the color of law one is going to be a panel?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it'll be the film screening, which you said I think is about
20
25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a short, like, I don't know, 45-minute panel discussion. So I think if we come up with those like hard-hitting questions, and also like we let the panel know like these are what the questions are so they can do their own research too. I think that that would be really, really great. I don't know. Oh, sorry, I'll lower my hand. I know last time Kay offered to facilitate asking the questions. I don't know if she's
Right.
still up for that, but if someone else is,
Mhm.
we can figure this out. But I will contact everyone after, and we can start working on a time to make up the questions.
Do we have the panelists in place? We do?
I will confirm tomorrow
Okay,
with
cool.
everyone.
Okay.
Great.
Are you in contact with the Tufts professor that RSJ wanted us to get to?
So we're gonna find out tonight.
Okay.
Rona and Patrice, I don't know if you can make it, but there is a meeting tonight with RSJ. Just to check in, like probably 15 minutes to see where we're all at, and I think
Yeah,
that they'll
that's-
hopefully give us an update tonight.
I'm just
I
checking
may
on.
be able to make it. Like, I put it in my calendar, but I do have
No
to admit there's a
pressure.
6 p.m. yoga class, and I'll be on the bus, like on my way there.
No
So I may
pressure.
have
Yeah.
to be silent.
Yeah,
That's
so
totally
we'll
fine.
have a better sense of it, and then Shannon can let everybody know what's going on.
So calling
Yeah,
on
so just,
myself,
oh yeah, sorry.
so three short things. One is this is very exciting, and you probably have heard me say before, I think of things in terms of good, better, best. We're moving several steps beyond where we have been before. It does not have to be perfect. It would be terrible if people got burned out on April and didn't want to do any more work until September. So please keep that in mind. Point number two is nerdy is great, but please make sure, and I know some of you are very good at this, but so I'm just reminding you, please make sure that when you're talking nerdy information, that you're doing it in language that is
Right.
very clear, very accessible for people.
Mhm.
And the maps that you were talking about would probably help with that, but obviously they need to be explained in like words of one syllable, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
What was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, just to make sure with the panel discussion that it's easy for the panelists to like take up all the time. So whoever's facilitating it should make sure that whoever's attending it gets a chance to jump in, and especially if it turns out to be a smaller group, maybe it becomes more of a roundtable discussion.
Mhm.
But if it's a larger group, still, this is the academic in me. I used to go to panels at conferences, and the people on the panel would give their papers, and that would take up an hour, and then there was like 15 minutes left for everybody else in the room to ask questions. So I'm putting in my vote for being considerate of the people that respond to the call and actually come out to these events. So that's my contribution, and I'm going to step back into the facilitation role.
Okay. Yeah, and just we don't have another meeting before this event.
I don't think
So I just want to say I was cleaning out my office upon retirement, and I found out I have a big easel whiteboard.
so.
So if somebody has whiteboard pens and erasers, I can bring that if it becomes something we want to have. So now that we have this sense, somebody just has to say, bring it, and I'll bring it.
I have whiteboard pens and erasers from the office. So
Okay, okay.
yeah.
But will we need a whiteboard pen and eraser, and we'll figure that out? Or should I just bring it, and if we don't need it, it's no big deal, I have a hatchback.
Mm.
So I'll actually make a note, I'll just bring it.
That sounds great. Thank
So
you.
April 10th. All right, I'm writing this down because I forget everything.
Maybe we could do like panels that I've been to, not participated in, but witnessed. They kind of limit the panelists to the amount of time that they can speak, like about their particular area, and then leave it out, open for questions. So one suggestion could be that, like, if you have those questions that you're thinking about preparing, if each panelist handles one question, and then whatever's left over, one of us could do, or we could figure that out. But that way you get those questions answered, and you still leave plenty of time for the audience to ask whatever might be on their minds. I don't know if that will work for this format, but it's one way to make sure that we get enough time for both things.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
But Kay isn't here, so we have to get.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll coordinate with everyone and be in contact and make sure that we have a facilitator and everything works out. Yeah. Do not worry. But just be on the lookout for emails from me, I would say.
All right. And so this is for the color of law one.
Right.
So for the for Todd's, the way I'm envisioning this is Todd will do Todd stuff. And then if there's landlords, one of the commissioners should sit with the landlords and talk about the VIP program. The other thing I found out, is that there's no website for the VIP program. And that's something OHS really needs to do. And I would volunteer to help them do it because I have all the materials. But when you look up VIP on the city website, you see the meeting that happened in 2020 to launch the program. And then 2020 happened. Like literally a couple weeks later, it was like the end of February 2020 that they had the launch. And apparently it's gotten lost in the sauce there. So,
again, for the public, could you explain VIP?
okay, VIP is Voucher Incentive Program. So it gives up to $4,000 for landlords who take on Section 8 tenants in a 1-year lease. The first time you agree to take on a Section 8 tenant, and that the incentive includes like a signing bonus. And then if there's no realtor, there's an additional signing bonus. And there's also up to $500 to make sure that you get through the inspection for Section 8. So that's for home improvements. And there's also an incentive for realtors, if there is a realtor, to encourage realtors to work, affirmatively for Section 8 tenants. And the city has a bunch of literature about it that we're going to be bringing to this program. So that would be for the landlords. And for the tenants, it's my sense is doing some role playing and pithy questions. And what do you say when a landlord says, are you using a voucher? If yes is the wrong answer for that landlord, how do you deal with it? And I sort of have ideas depending on the situation, but we probably should rehearse some of that in teams of 2 before we go so that we can talk to tenants. So that was that program. That's the way I'm envisioning it. Are there things that we want to add?
Do we want to invite, I think it's Somerville Homeless Coalition that runs the summer VIP program. But would we want to invite someone from there or from OHS to come to this in case there are
Ah.
landlords there?
I wonder if that's where the link is.
There's not a lot of information online. Even the person who's listed on the flyer is out of office for like the next 2 months, and her email directed me to someone else when I was asking
Okay.
them about translations for the flyer. So
Okay.
I think that the flyer is, as far as I could tell, what there is, but yeah, I think it's run through Somerville Homeless Coalition, but it's like city funded.
Okay, it's not, I just went to the Homeless Coalition's website and put in voucher incentive program, nothing came up.
It's probably a lot like the family self-sufficiency program, that unless you have people actively sharing information about it, it's one of those under the radar programs. My program is like that, and the only way that I've been able to bring in so many participants is that we now have a great Section 8 team that alerts their tenants that they are in their caseload that FSS might be good for them, but it's not something that's widely publicized, and I bet it falls into that category as well. Although FSS is on our website, so you could find out on our website if you wanted to. Yeah.
So, of course, this is not right down the center of anti-discrimination work in housing, but as we were saying earlier, there's such overlap between anti-discrimination work and affordable housing work.
Absolutely.
And clearly a theme that's been emerging has been from various parts of the city, us, RSJ, other groups. There's a push to become aware of what one another are doing, and to make sure that the phrase I've heard in the past is that there's no wrong entry. That if you come into one agency or one nonprofit and they're not the right people, they'll know who is and make sure that you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be the model that we're working toward more. So are there any other things specifically about the Fair Housing Month events?
Yeah, so people are okay with the second event looking like that? Okay.
Sounds good.
Should I, or Shannon, can you find out who needs language for a voucher incentive program website page? Because I have a page that would happen really quickly because it's all written up already.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I'll
all I
ask.
would have to do is send the verbiage over, and then whoever puts stuff up on the website can just bang it up there because it should be up there.
On the City of Somerville page?
Yeah, somewhere on the City of
Website?
Somerville page. So if the Homeless
Yeah.
Coalition is doing whoever's administrating this should have it on their page.
Yeah.
So, and it might also go on the out to the Section 8 team that it's there once it's there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm sure they would
Because-
be very happy
yeah.
with that.
Because it's a great program, and it's sort of become a secret agent.
It
Nobody
also
knows it's
helps
there.
with housing search in a lot of ways too, because if our Section 8 team has it has people that they're issuing new vouchers to, and there's these landlords that we know are friendly to the vouchers, that would be great.
Yeah, and the info from that first meeting in 2020 is in that blog entry that isn't up yet. So all I have to do is turn that into something more generic, and we've got it. And again, it's not specifically housing discrimination work, but it's so close enough that
Yeah.
I'm fine doing it as a commissioner.
And did we agree that we should try to invite whoever does oversee that program? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll reach out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And
Thank you.
see if they,
I
see
can't
if they'll
guarantee
come.
they'll come, but I will
Or see
reach
if
out.
they have flyers. I
Invite them.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, but you said whoever the person who was administering this is on leave right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so it may be on an empty desk someplace. And that happens. I hope it's a good leave. I hope it's like a baby leave and not a, I broke my arm leave.
So
Yeah.
folks, I want to check in. We're up just at 4:00.
Fuck.
And we usually aim to have about an hour meeting. Do people want to agree to stay on for a few more minutes, or should we just kind of table the other items and hold them for our April meeting?
Okay, what's left?
Tabling events, including Civic Day and Carnival, fair housing questionnaire for incumbent and challenging candidates to city council, annual reports. None of that, I think, is time sensitive.
No.
Do we have a day for Civic Day yet?
Civic Day is on April 5th.
Okay, so that is time sensitive.
Okay.
If we want to talk about that really quickly.
Mhm.
I have to go in 2 minutes. I have
Okay,
a 4 o'clock meeting-ish, and I will have to end my lunch break.
okay.
Do you want me to go into Civic Day or?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
because it
Okay.
happens before the next meeting.
Okay, yeah. So it is on the 5th. I just want to say that I know we're doing a lot of other stuff for April is Fair Housing Month. So I think that not that Civic Day is unimportant, but Housing Division is tabling at Civic Day.
Mhm.
We're probably going to have one table. We might have two, depending on the number of people that are there. But I will be there for at least half the time. Lisa will be there for at least half the time. And then other Housing Division staff members will be in and out. But if anyone does want to come, I think we would have room for like one person at a time. So even if you just wanted to drop by for an hour, that's totally fine. Again, like I know our other things are more pressing, and we've been asking a lot of the commission for April. So I don't want to put too much on your plate. But just let me know if you want to come for
What-
like an hour or two.
What's the time on it?
It
Is it like noon to 4?
It's noon to 4. Mhm.
Okay.
And
So-
where was it? I have it in my calendar, but I didn't put a location.
It's next to City Hall,
I
isn't it?
think it's in the parking lot next to
Okay,
City
yeah,
Hall.
maybe that's why I didn't write it. Maybe I
Yeah.
was that obvious, but
Isn't this
That's where it was
nondescript
last year.
space?
Yeah.
Oh, Shannon, do you think we'll be able to have like some of our flyers for our events there
Yes,
too?
we will
Maybe can have-
definitely. And I will be throwing them at people. And
You know,
also, I forgot
we
to
have the
mention, we're probably going to have
anti-discrimination
swag.
stuff.
We might have swag. We might have pins
Okay.
or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So not guaranteed, but we might have something to give people in addition to a flyer. So it's really
Well,
exciting.
I
Yeah.
found my swag from,
Oh, the tape measure.
yeah, so this is a swag from Artbeat.
Yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, if you do want to come, I won't put anyone on the spot right now, but if you could just send me an email like in the next few days and let me know if you, again, like even just an hour is totally
Yeah.
fine. And I'll
See,
be there for part of the
I
time.
live for that kind of extrovert fantasy. So I'll have a car after 1 o'clock.
Okay,
If
perfect.
I could get there then.
Perfect. All right. I think that's all.
Okay, so with commissioners' permission, we'll table the other items until our next meeting, which is
Mhm.
April 24th
Yep.
at 3 o'clock, also online. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Um,
adjourn.
I
By
second.
Commissioner
Well, second,
Patrice,
let Patrice get back to work.
seconded by Janine. Rona agrees. I make it unanimous. The meeting is adjourned at 4:03. Thank you all very much, and particularly thank you, Shannon. We could
Yeah.
not do this without you.
Yeah, we're doing